when Michael Landon passed, this is 30 years ago now, I was doing weekend work at a top 40 radio station. And we have a mentor that we all know now. And his idea of radio was be like Disney World. Nothing is bad. You don't ever talk about anything bad on the air. You're just positive and upbeat.
Mm-hmm. Every time you turn on the radio, it's upbeat.
That's right. So I was that night filling in and doing 7 to midnight, okay? Now, at midnight, this guy named Lee Cameron was coming on. And Lee is, I've talked about him before.
Polished veteran.
Polished veteran DJ.
Broadcaster.
Wore a suit. Brought highlighters to highlight where he was going to talk.
He worked midnight to 6.
Midnight to 6.
Wearing a suit that nobody will see.
That's right.
No one ever
Except
saw.
you.
That's right. I was the only one.
When you handed him the mic.
And he had that great broadcasting voice like this. He'd say, he was the one that asked me one time, "Hey, Chris, what are you going to do when you get too old to rock and roll?" And I said, I don't know. I mean, I was 19, so I didn't.
Is this a riddle?
Right. So I didn't even know. So the mentor told me, I was sitting there getting ready to start my shift. It was like 6:30, and word broke. We got it over the old AP wire. This just in.
Urgent.
A light went off. A light started blinking. And
beloved actor Michael Landon dead.
I said, "Give me that. Hot off the press." My mentor came and intercepted it. And he said, "You're not to speak of this. You're not to talk about Michael Landon dying because we are Disney World. Nothing bad ever happens on this radio station. You just go on. You don't even mention it." I said, "All right." So I went on. I worked 5 hours. That's it. And he said, "Don't forget to tell Lee, don't bring up Michael Landon." Because Lee was coming on at midnight after me.
I got it.
We did two things. We never talked about bad stuff. We never stopped down the music. The music continued always. All right. So I do my 5 hours. Lee comes in.
What era was this?
This was 1991. This was
Mariah Carey's early days.
Mariah Carey, Boys to Men. I'm playing a lot of Maxi Priest.
Oh.
Okay.
I hope he banked it. I hope he saved his money. Maxi.
Played Unbelievable by EMF. Played, yeah.
Love that song.
Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison.
Love that song.
Me too. Me too. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
What?
I'm doing a lot.
Good vibrations.
Good vibrations.
That is a party.
That's a party. And we're having a party on there. Now, I partied up all the time. All right, midnight comes. I say to Lee, "How are you?" I didn't mention Michael Landon. I forgot to talk about Michael Landon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I got in the car, driving home. I'm going to Appalachian. And I get in the car, and I'm listening to him. Now, I know the first time he's going to talk is like 8 minutes after midnight, so I want to hear that. I always wanted to hear the DJs. So he
In case they give you a shout out from when you left.
Yes. I want him to say, "Thanks, Chris, for the great job." But he comes on. The station was called 107.5. He goes, "FM 107.5. I'm going to stop the music." And I'm like, "What?" I mean, I was like, "Huh?" And he goes,
Don't do that.
"We don't do that." He goes, "In case you haven't heard."
Turn your radio up.
He goes, "In case you have not heard, we lost a giant today." And I was like, "Oh, God, I was supposed to tell him not to say
Please don't say Michael Landon. Please don't say Michael Landon.
I'm talking about Michael Landon."
The great, and now late, Michael Landon.
And now a moment of silence.
After that, we'll take your calls with your memories of Michael Landon. No.
You know him as Little Joe.
I'm going to take this program log and just throw it out the window tonight.
He dragged it out. He's like, "Pancreatic cancer. A deadly disease, a short bout. He fought it bravely. You all saw it." But I was like, "Oh, my God.
It's a killer, folks.
Oh, my God."
Let's talk to Chris on line 1. Says here he wants to don't talk about Michael Landon. Uh-oh.
I was supposed to tell you something.
Don't take my call off the air.
Take the call off the air.
Take my call.
Oh, my God.
Michael's mother used to punish him by taking...
soiled bed sheets. So he's like, "We're going to play a tribute to Michael Landon." Started playing your request for Michael Landon. And then the next time I saw my mentor, a couple of days later, he was like, I thought I told you to tell Lee not
What the blank?
what's going on. Why did he
What
talk?
happened?
We did we started having a telethon for Michael Landon and people who were afflicted with pancreatic cancer. So that was a tough time. Obviously, we all went through it, and I didn't think that was going to come up on this program, but
Sure did.
Michael Landon.
Still dead.
Just in case you're joining us. Just joining us.
We got some breaking news here. Michael Landon has passed 30 years ago.
As have many of the people that he acted with.
Correct. That's right.
That's a fact.
Just
All
to-
the Bonanza's gone.
Let me update you. Hoss.
He's the first to go.
I got a factoid about Hoss. When I was reading about Michael Landon, it said this actor so and so played Hoss. I forget his name.
Dan Blocker.
Dan Blocker. Okay. I clicked on him. Okay. This is great. I'm going to ask this on Tough Ass Trivia next week. So if you know it, you'll be ahead of the game.
Write this down.
Yeah. He was the first character ever to die on a television show where they where they admitted he's dead. Like the character has died. He died in the 13th season of Bonanza. Dan Blocker played Hoss. In the 14th season, they said, Hoss.
We lost Hoss.
We lost Hoss. But they didn't say how. They just commented that he was dead.
Huh.
And years later, they did like a special, 6 years later, they did like one get together again, and they said he died in a river saving a man from drowning, and that's how Hoss had died. But they were the first to ever admit that a
never
character
knew
had
that.
died. Yeah, I
never
didn't
knew
either.
I thought the show was off the air by the time.
He died in the 13th season and made it one more season. They did one season without Hoss.
My God, I'm getting word that Hoss has died as well.
Folks, we're going to stop the music.
Tragic night here.
Stop the music. This just in. It's been handed to me. Hoss has died.
You know his Hoss. His name was Dan Blocker.
Hoss died 20 years before Landon.
Yeah, he did.
At least.
On the line, the great-great-grandson of Lorne Green.
He's gone too.
He's
We've lost
long
Lorne.
gone.
Everybody on Bonanza.
Purnell Roberts gone.
All gone. All gone.
Here's your
Hot seat.
Hop
unbelievable.
sing.
Here's EMF. You're unbelievable. This is dedicated to the cast of Bonanza. That's the great Lee Cameron who did that. Good story down the good, the bad, the ugly. A P1 emails and said, I heard you all talking about oil leakage from cars. I wanted to tell you what happened to me and my daughter last week. She, like Chris Kelly's son, is 16, so I took her to get an oil change. When I went to pay, the cashier said to me, I'm supposed to tell you you need tires and filters, but you really don't. I couldn't live with myself if I told you this. What? I mean,
I mean, it's someone's last day.
that's it, yeah. Can you believe that? He says, the cashier said, I want to be able to live with myself and sleep at night, so I'm not going to tell you you need tires and filters. You really don't need those. Golly, that makes me feel bad that they're doing that, but at least this person stepped up and didn't.
Yeah, when I used to go to some of those places, it was a kind of a standard dance. When you're sitting in the waiting room,
Yeah.
everyone would come through with this filter and this look on their face like, oh, man, you got here just in time.
You're never going to
They'd
believe
walk
it.
over to the customer and show them this filthy piece of automotive equipment. Look at this. This was in your car, man.
You were breathing this.
Now I can save you. Do it, please. They all said that.
Now she's going to run you $350.
You're right.
Do it. Whatever you have
Whatever
to do.
that takes.
He says
Now,
this is
tires are more. You can usually
tell.
tell,
You
can
if
tell
your
on tires.
Yeah.
That's right.
Even if you don't have pressure gauges like yours, you can see the wear.
My I just got new tires on the ACK because
That's right.
they're worn down to the nub.
What do they call that? Throwing good money after bad.
Well, my wife was pretty upset.
Yeah.
She said, "How dare you buy tires?"
Putting lipstick on a pig.
That was her term, not mine. And I said, "You know what? I just did it." I was like, "I just did it." I didn't consult her.
It was kind of fun watching the back end slide as you turn, though.
Yeah, it's like the back wheels moved with the front
Yeah.
wheels.
Got loose.
Did you like that?
I did like
A
that.
little show I can give you. I try to put
Yeah,
a
it was
little show.
retread. You didn't put anything new on it, did
Right.
you?
No, Lord. I got him off something else.
Yeah,
I was
good.
like, I'll get something. Retread. Bad story today. This happened at a Mexican restaurant in Temple, Texas, between Austin and Dallas. A woman apparently got soup that she had ordered that was so hot it melted the plastic lid on the container, and she was taking it to go. So she came back to tell the person who gave her the soup that it was too hot. It had literally melted the plastic container. And the woman behind the counter said, well, I'm not sure what you want me to do about that. It's hot. It's soup. And the woman wound up throwing the soup at the employee.
Oh, hell no.
Now, the employee says luckily it had cooled down by then, so it didn't give her, like, serious burns. And in fact, here she is talking about it. She says the worst part of it was the spices in the soup.
Basically, this woman had called saying that her soup was so hot that it had melted the plastic lid into the soup. All she wanted to do was yell and cuss, and she called me names and the kitchen staff names. And then, as you saw, she had come into the restaurant. That is when she made the split decision to grab the hot menudo and throw it in my face. Now, the soup was not as hot as it was when it was fresh, but if anything, the spices from our soup definitely affected me more than anything. It really felt like I had just been pepper sprayed.
How about that? That the soup and the menudo.
I've never had a menudo.
I was going to ask you.
It's hot.
Spicy?
It's spicy, but it's I tried it once. I don't care.
You didn't like
What's the other soup that's way more popular
mulligatawny?
at a Mexican restaurant?
That's more of an Irish.
Not mulligatawny.
That's an Irish fare.
I'm sorry, I picked
I
it
don't
too
think
early.
so.
Sorry, that's an Indian soup.
That's
A
Indian
split
dish.
pea.
I learned that from
No, there's a soup that they always have
at a Mexican
at
restaurant?
Mexican joints.
I don't know. I don't get the Mexican.
Menudo is a soup, but it's very
Like a
more
stew?
more of a stew with it's made with hominy, corn hominy, and
Oh.
tripe, which is I think goat entrails.
Intestines,
Goat
yeah.
intestines.
I'll tell you this. I've seen the video of her throwing it, and it looks like a thick stew more than a soup.
It is. It is.
Stuck to her. I mean, I thought this girl was going to have terrible burns, but I guess she got it home and then brought it all the way back so it had time to cool. Luckily,
Well, they put them in plastic bowls. That's not very.
well, plastic
They
lid.
have to go.
Plastic lid on
The lid is
You
plastic.
know, when I used to work barbecue, God, I made a terrible error one time. We would serve barbecue for 4 or barbecue for 8, in which you get barbecue, and then sometimes they would order a side of the sauce separately. So you put it in like that quart container, but you have to poke a hole in the top of the plastic lid or it would blow up.
Wow.
And so I forgot to poke a hole in there. And it caused the lid to basically explode on the customer on the way out. He
So
said,
they started calling him Poke-a-hole.
Put a poke.
"We would,
They'd stick it on the back of his shirt.
you know how we'd poke a hole in it? We'd put the lid on top of the old gray rag, and then take the long fork and jab it through there and put it on top.
And then go wipe the tables with it.
Tortilla soup. That is how we
Tortilla
do it.
soup.
Tortilla soup.
That's a good soup.
It's always on the menu.
That's
at
pretty
the
good.
Mexican
I've had
restaurants.
that. That is good.
It's okay.
You know, when you said it, I started thinking wonton.
Mulligatawny.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. I have recently become a big fan of wonton soup over hot and sour. I used to like hot and sour, but now I've gone to wonton soup.
Well, wonton's just got the big noodle in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I like it.
I mean, it's mostly broth.
Yeah, and then a couple. If you're lucky, get good stuffed wontons.
Those are good. I really like that. But do you like the hot and sour?
I'm not a big soup
fan.
fan.
Oh, period.
As it is. No, I mean, I like tomato and bean with bacon, but that's about it.
What is it? Are there 3 at Chinese restaurants? There's wonton.
Yeah, there's
drop.
one we're missing.
Egg drop.
Egg drop.
Egg drop.
I
Yeah.
love egg drop soup.
I do too.
Maybe I like that too. I like all those soups at the Chinese restaurants.
Some of the noodles in it, the crunchy noodles, delicious.
Yeah, those are
Get
good.
you some.
You're right.
Lots of salt.
Fine.
Oh, stop it.
Fine.
Dave.
You know what? I'm taking it.
It's salt. It's a Chinese restaurant.
But no MSG.
You're lucky to get salted. Yeah. We've kicked the can down the curve here on our $2,000, 2,000-pound weight loss challenge, so I might just get some mulligatawny or whatever today. You don't know what
It's
I'm...
been kicked down the curb.
Yeah.
It's kicked down the.
Going into Panda Express. He's here for mulligatawny?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Does he
I'll do
work
it.
here?
I'll take
I was gonna say,
whatever.
that's the saddest declaration you've ever made. Hey, I'm getting some soup today. Who's with me?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Ugly story. Doctors in the Netherlands claim they have seen their first ever case of scrotal necrosis because a man who was vacationing in South Africa sat on a toilet and was bitten by a highly venomous snouted cobra on the scrotum. And this has now been documented in a urology case study. It's the first time this snake has ever bit someone in that area. Guys, 47 years old, was in South Africa at a wildlife reserve. Cobra surprised him when he sat on the toilet, which, by the way, it says in this...
Surprised the cobra, too. Does that in the notes?
Now, how come nobody ever interviews the cobra?
Thinks about the cobra. Cobra, you
Should
think
have seen this thing. It was coming right at me.
that's your...
Had a big split right down the middle.
I don't know what it was.
I had no choice.
I had no time to
I had
strike.
no choice.
It had a big mouth.
It's coming right
Biggest
at me.
mongoose I ever saw.
I had to
But
go
it was
at
the
it.
wrong direction.
No, he sat on the toilet and was bitten by the surprised cobra from beneath.
Side note, my favorite snake
I was going to say, that's your favorite snake.
by a mile. What the way they flare their
Yeah.
necks.
And this
Oh,
is-
yeah.
I'd never heard of the snouted cobra, and it's a certain type. Anyway, because he was in a fairly remote area, he had to wait 3 hours for a helicopter to fly him to the nearest trauma center. When he got there, he had already felt a burning pain spread from his genitals into the abdomen up to the chest. So he's basically got burning all the way from his chest down to the gents. When he arrived at the hospital, his genitals were so swollen and deep purple, he had scrotal necrosis, and they said, we don't know if we'll be able to save.
That means the flesh is dying.
That's right.
Yes.
He said, your scrotum is in danger. They said that to him. The doctors administered 8 doses of antivenom and finally were able to control his fever. They gave him dialysis for his kidneys, debrided his scrotum, and saved it.
Wow.
So they were able, and after a
But wait,
year.
But whatever's gone is gone.
That's right. But they were able to piece it back together. And after a year, he got some of his feeling sensation back. It took a year before he got sensation back in the entire area.
Oh, man.
Isn't that horrible? He was at the hospital in South Africa for 9 days. Then he went to the Netherlands and spent another 2 weeks in the hospital while they worked on him. Jeez.
After they worked on his Netherlands.
And they said
Yes,
they printed it in this case journal because it's so fascinating. It's the first time a cobra has ever bitten a man on the scrotum.
Yeah, I mean, why would you put it out there? I mean, record
I think
it.
somebody out there's like, hey, that's my thing.
But they said
Nuh-uh.
I was first.
I was first.
they said that the last line of the report is it's more common than you think for a snake to be in your toilet, especially outside of the United States.
Imagine, I mean, I was just thinking how fortunate we are. I flip the toilet lid up.
I know.
Don't even think about it.
At
Just have a
night,
seat.
I do it at night in the dark.
Of
know.
course.
But
Imagine having to look every single time.
Yeah.
I will say this. I was in my yard when we first bought this house. There's like a little pipe head in the yard, it's white, and there
That's
was
your sewer.
yes, and there was a hole in it in the top. And a guy who was doing some work, like when we first got the house, like wiring it up for internet or whatever, said you should replace that because that's how a snake gets in your toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my wife, and oh my God, I thought we had to move again.
Yeah.
And I did replace it. I mean, I didn't, but somebody came out.
I wrote a check.
I wrote a check for
Wonder how
it.
there's a hole in it.
I don't know. She said somebody might hit it with a lawnmower. And
Yeah, it could be landscaping.
yeah, and but there was a hole the size enough for a snake to crawl through, basically.
Or any critter, really.
Yeah, exactly. And he said that's how
Rat, have a
he said
mouse
that's how an animal will get in your toilet because then they'll go up for water and try
Yeah,
to
they're
get out.
looking for something.